I want to go to the principle of least privilege. This is also an interview question. They will say to you, do you understand what the principle of least privilege is? It's so simple. The principle of least privilege says that you should only grant individuals, system server, the minimum level of access required to perform their job. Let's assume that you are an HR. You will all agree with me that an HR person does not need access to security tools because his or her job does not even get near security tools. So the principle of least privilege says that you should only grant individuals our application the permission required for their job. The permission, the minimum permission required to perform their task. So if I hired you as a DevOps engineer and I hired somebody as a security engineer, the DevOps engineer should not have the permission that the security engineer will have, and the security engineer should not have the permission the DevOps engineer should have. So the principle of least privilege says only grant access, minimum permission required to perform your job. Again, this is what we did right here. Remember when we were granting this permission is too overly permissive. It's too much. So when we say overly permissive, we mean it's too much. This overly permissive. Why? Because inside of this star, remember I said star represents everything, right? Inside of star, there is the ability to terminate. There is the ability to terminate. So that means this permission right here is overly permissive. It doesn't adhere to the principle of least privilege, which says you should only grant service as the minimum level of permission or access required to perform their job, which is why we now use a deny statement which override the aspect of the action within this line 8 that we do not want to grant access to. So, as a security engineer, your job will be to make sure that permissions are granted on a need to know basis. If you don't have any business in deleting or terminating an instance, you shouldn't have the permission to do so. So it's very, very important to understand the concept of the principle of least privilege and how you can apply that, not just knowing the definition, but how you can prove that to an interviewer. Because when I'm interviewing you, I'm not interested in you giving me definition. A least privilege, it allows you to grant the minimum level. I don't care. Show me, prove to me that you know what it means in terms of the technical aspect of it, which is what we just performed right here.